Hey guys, I have this awesome vacation plan this weekend, and I was wanting to know if you guys wanted to come. Do you guys want to take an art trip to the mountains? Yes, let's go carve up some wicked powder on the slopes, man. See you in a minute, guys. So we are going to do a little bit of perspective today. Perspective is the way you see something. If you've ever heard your mom and dad say, keep it in perspective, right? But perspective in art is actually the realistic way you might see things. As you drive down the road, you're realizing things are getting smaller and smaller and further away, or closer and closer and closer. That's the way we actually see things. This is how artists make things look realistic, right? This is not an easy concept to draw. However, one point perspective, which is using one point, is the easiest way, and that's what we're going to do today. It's kind of a fun way. My daughter does this all the time. So if you do this with me step by step by step, it's a really kind of neat way to make all different kinds of things. You can make beach views, mountain views, road views, sunsets, farms, all kinds of really cool stuff. So I am getting ready to go to the mountains. So I thought, oh, what a fun way to kind of show you my road trip. I'm driving down the road, and on the way to the mountains, sometimes I see Christmas tree farms or forests or things like that. So I want to show you how to draw in perspective. And there's a couple vocabulary words we're going to talk about today, and you're going to hear me say vanishing point. That means everything vanishes into this point. And you're going to hear me say foreground. Foreground is up close. Middle ground is in the, what do you think? Middle. And the background is in the back. So foreground is front, middle ground is middle, and background is back, right? So let's go get started. You're going to need a pencil and a piece of paper. See you in a minute. All right, chickadees. So we're going to turn our paper. I'm going to turn mine the tall building way, but you can turn it this way as well. It really doesn't matter. Depends on if you want a really long, a wide road, or a skinny. Okay? So first things first, let me adjust my camera. If you fold your paper in half, you don't have to. I'm going to fold my paper in half to kind of give you an idea. So once I open my paper up, see how it has that line there? That's the exact middle of the paper, right? So once I have that idea, then I'm going to go a little bit below it and draw my horizon line. That's where the sun and the land meet, and that's going to be my horizon line. So see how I'm kind of slightly below? You could do it right in the middle, but I want more sky in my picture. If you want more sky, you're going to drop that line lower. If you want less sky, you're going to bring it up high. So I've gone a little bit below. And if you notice, my land line, my horizon line is not straight. It doesn't have to be, right? So everybody do that first. And then very lightly, pick where you want your road. If you want your road to disappear way over here, you can do that. You can have it disappear in the center or way over here. It doesn't matter where you put this dot, all right? To keep it simple, I'm gonna put just a little mark right there. Can you see that? Ooh, see it right there? All right. So I'm gonna put it in the very center, and that is called your vanishing point. Vanishing point. That's where everything vanishes into that point. So everybody go ahead and do that. Now, once we have that done, we're going to find the bottom corners of our pages. This one, can you see my finger? And this one. And you're going to draw a diagonal line, diagonal, to this point. Now, if you're very particular, you can use a ruler. I don't use a ruler, right? So I'm going to, from the vanishing point, draw a line to the corner. Now, what if your line doesn't hit the corner? Who cares, right? It doesn't matter. And I'm going to draw one to the other side. Look, see, and you can even see, let me see if I can zoom in. See how mine didn't touch the corner? No big whoopie-doos, right? All right, so we have that. Now, can you tell what I've drawn? Can you tell that this is the road, right? If you look at my picture right there, you see? So here's the road, here's the land, here's the sky. right? So you've already done a lot of the hard work, right? Now, if you have the kind of road, let me get my big arm out of the way, that has a street, if you're driving down the road and you want this street, did you know that a solid yellow line tells your parents do not pass any cars? If you have a dotted yellow line, that means your parents can pass, right? But of course your parents don't speed, they're excellent drivers, right? So let's add that line. Now we're gonna keep it simple and we're gonna do a solid line because that's just easier. And I'm gonna start from my vanishing point and I'm gonna draw a really skinny from the vanishing point, just like that. Now here's the trick to this, guys. It has to disappear into the vanishing point. The most common mistake that I see a lot of people do, and I'll show you that mistake. Okay, I'm gonna show you on a piece of paper that my daughter was working on. Okay, so she already drew this, right? This was just one of her pieces of paper that she messed up on, right? But I see a lot of this. Some people go like this. Oh my gosh, that's the biggest, widest, that looks like another street inside a street, right? We don't wanna do that. Or sometimes I even see people go like this. Here's your vanishing point, here's your road, right? Some people go like this. Does that look like it vanishes into that dot? No, it has to vanish. It has to vanish. And it's gonna get super skinny. As things move away from you, they get smaller and smaller. When they get closer to you, they get bigger and bigger. That's why the road looks bigger here and the street stripe looks bigger here. As it goes away, it gets smaller and smaller. That's gonna be, the foreground is big, middle ground, background, okay? That's really, really important about this. You've already drawn the hardest parts. You've drawn the road, you've got your land, and now you've got your sky, right? So now, like I said, I'm getting ready for a ski trip. I'm going to the mountains. So I'm gonna draw the mountains, right? My daughter, in one of her drawings, what did she draw? She drew the desert, right? You could do a sun in the background. She drew some cactuses, right? Now see how she did the dotted line? I would have gone like this. I would have drawn a straight line like that, but then I would have taken my eraser, which, let me get a better eraser because my erasers are yuckified, and I would erase, 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 erase. See how I'm skipping everyone like that? Now watch this. Bam, 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 bam. Ta-da! Now I have a dotted line. Isn't that a crazy cool trick? All right, so I'm gonna draw mountains today because I'm feeling ski-ish. I'm feeling mountainous. Now, if you've been out west, you know the mountains are really tall and really big. If you have been to the East Coast, we know that our mountains are much, much older and they're gonna be a little bit more rounded. And the best part about mountains is they don't have to be perfect, right? And I'm gonna make it so it looks like the road. We're gonna go right into this valley. So see how I just kind of drew some bumps and lumps? Now if you don't want to do that, ooh, you know what we could do? We could even draw sun in the background. Maybe we're not gonna make it to the mountains until sunset, right? Or maybe this could be another mountain in the background. I kind of like that idea, right? So I'm gonna erase my sun, and maybe there's another big tall mountain. Maybe that's where the ski resort is. Ooh, yeah. All right, so there's my mountains, right? So we've got our background, we've got our foreground. Now we gotta work on the land, okay? We're gonna work on those trees. So if you notice, what do you notice about mine? You notice that these trees up front are really, really tall. And as we get farther and farther and farther away, those trees get smaller and smaller and smaller. In order to make this piece look good, we need to make these trees go past the horizon line. Everybody's so afraid, don't go past that line. Yes, please go past that line. You're going to need to erase, right? So watch this. I'm gonna draw a really big tree. And look, I drew right over my road. It's not the end of the universe. That's a good thing. We want to overlap. I drew over my horizon line. All you have to do is get your handy dandy eraser, erase that horizon line and erase that part of the road. And that's going to take your drawing to a whole new level. See how it looks like that tree? Now, hopefully there's not a tree in front of your road, but you know. So I'm going to go on the other side, and this is a great way to cheat. I don't have to draw that whole tree, right? We're going to draw this tree. We can only see part of him, right? There we go. And what do I need to do, guys? I need to erase that line. We don't want that tree is not see-through, right? So we're gonna erase that line. That is the hardest thing for me to teach you guys, is to overlap and erase those lines. All right? So now we gotta do some more trees, but those trees are getting farther away, so they're gonna get what? Here's a big one. They're gonna get a little bit shorter, right? So still, they might go over the horizon line, right? But they're gonna get shorter. So we're gonna draw another tree. And I like when my trees overlap, right? So what am I gonna have to do? What's the big question? Erase this line, right? Man, I should get my nails done if I'm gonna keep doing this, right? You guys have to see my witch fingers on this camera, right? All right, so I've erased that line, right? So let's draw some little tiny ones. If you notice, they're getting smaller and smaller. Here's this one, and then this one, and then this one, and then this one, and then this one. Right? So we have to make it even smaller. I'm still... And it's kind of fun at this stage. You can kind of scribble a little bit. Right? And then I might even do it here. Oh, that one. Maybe it's super tiny. Right? Still looking. Uh-oh, what do I have to do? I have to erase that line, right? So we're gonna erase that line. Sorry, we had to let the dog out. She wasn't gonna make it. You know how dogs are. All right. So there. So now I have a landscape with trees. Now you could add more trees back in there. You could even add, if you wanted to, maybe there's a fence back here. I don't know. There's, you know, a farmer that lives back in here, and he doesn't want his cows to get out, right? Or something like that. So then there is my pencil drawing of my scenery. You could put snow on the tops of your mountains. I did that, right? You could put clouds in the sky. The best part about clouds is they're just kind of wiggly blobs. Don't ever feel like you have to draw those floppy clouds, you know, the big poofy clouds like the ones I drew. You don't have to draw those. All right, so then once you have your perspective drawing, you can go ahead and start coloring it. You could do watercolor. You could just leave it as a pencil. This is a kind of fun concept. You could make, like my daughter, you could make the desert, right? You could make the beach. You could make anything. Watch this. If you turn your paper this way, do your horizon line. I need a pencil that has lead in it, right? Right? You could put the sun here. Now I'm just scribbling, so, right? And then, ooh, you know what? Let's do this. And if I drew one more, if some of you have ever been on a boardwalk, ooh, I think I drew a couple lines, right? And they're all coming out, but watch what happens. See how I drew one here, one here, one here, one here? Now watch. I'm gonna draw lines across. Maybe you've been on a boardwalk at the beach. This is a little bit more advanced. Your lines have to be straight up and down, and I'm rushing through this, right? Maybe do the little handle here. Uh-oh, now the dog wants back in, right? Double those up so they look like... So can you guys see the boardwalk now? You could even make this a wiggly beach, right? If you wanted to, maybe the boardwalk ends, you erase a little bit of it. I know some of my boys that like to fish, They might fish off the pier, right? And I don't want you jumping off the pier and getting eaten by sharks, so we gotta end the pier there. Look, so now we have a pier. Ta-da! At the beach. So once you know how to do 1 point perspective, you can draw ultimately anything you want. So go ahead and see what you can draw with 1 point perspective. You guys are awesome. I'll see you soon. Bye.